What's going on YouTube? It is Repulsed here, back with another video. In today's video, I have my first round mock draft for the NFL Draft 2026. Obviously, you see the Titans and Giants here, but I'm doing trades in this first round mock draft. And to start off with, I'm actually going to do a trade here. Um, do I want it to be the Raiders? Do I want it to be the Rams, potentially moving up without Matthew Stafford, if he does end up deciding to retire on a ring or something like that? Because, you fully expect them to be competitive in the playoffs this year. Do the Browns move up? Do the Jets move up? We don't know. It says the Raiders are interested. I'm just going to go with them. Um, or actually, no, I'm going to go with the Jets just because they do have the capital. I think the Titans would, um, you know, definitely be looking at their first round picks in the future and decide to pull the trigger with the Jets more than the Raiders. Um, Jets have 7 and 23. We'll just give that just because it's only a first round mock draft. Obviously, there's going to be probably another first round pick, another, whatever in the deal. But we'll just do this for now. Titans move back to 7. Jets move up to 1. Um, and with the number 1 pick, my number 1 quarterback in this class is Dante Moore. I think he's very clutch, able to make every throw on the field with pretty much ease. First year really playing in the starting quarterback role. Obviously, in 2024, he was the backup to Dylan Gabriel. And then in 2023, he was at UCLA, which the team just wasn't that great. But you can see how good he is with the good team around him at Oregon. Just very good this season. I think the game against Iowa really impressed me a lot. Those he was able to make down the stretch are very impressive to me. So Jets end up taking my QB1 on the board in Dante Moore. Um, yeah, it's definitely a toss up between Dante Moore and Mendoza. Who do you prefer? And they're definitely probably 1A, 1B type guys. And I don't think this quarterback class is particularly strong, excuse me. But I do think those are two very, very good quarterbacks in there. And I think, you know, next up, we'll have the Raiders moving up with the Giants for pick 2. Um, End up just doing 2 for 4 because Raiders have nothing else in the first round. Um, and pretty self-explanatory. Raiders move up. They take Fernando Mendoza, my QB2 in this class. Another very good quarterback who can make any throw on the field. Um, yeah, just another one of those guys that you look at and you're pretty much astounded when you watch him. Able to stand in the pocket, make very tough throws. Mendoza very very good in this year. Um, for the 12-0 now Indiana, who have Ohio State in the weekend, so that'll be a fun watch. Um, Here at number 3, if you are the Saints, do you want to go quarterback? Do you believe in Tyler Shuck? Do you? I mean, they just randomly benched Spencer Rattler. I don't know why, but they decided to. Tyler Shuck hasn't been too bad, but then again, um, Spencer Rattler wasn't bad at all either. They just decided to randomly bench him, so don't know what they're thinking there. At number 3, I'm not gonna go quarterback. I'm gonna say that they want to um, build around Tyler Shuck, and do they care about injuries? Because if not, Jordan Tyson could be someone that goes in the top 3. How good he is when he is healthy. We just know he has a lot of injury problems, but nothing too bad. It's just muscle injuries here and there. Um, but if the Saints aren't going quarterback at number 3, I fully expect them to go Arvell Reese here. Number 1 linebacker on the board, probably the best player in this draft class. You watch him at Ohio State, he just flies to the ball. Very, very good at diagnosing plays, good in pass coverage, good at stopping the run. Arvell Reese is just a tremendous player. Probably the highest graded player in this class by a landslide. Just very, very good linebacker all around. And who knows if Demario Davis is there next year for the Saints. They have a multitude of needs, but I think Arvell Reese is an excellent player and someone that would be very, very good for the Saints. So the Saints take him at number 3. Giants here at number 4. Um, you'd love an offensive lineman here to be a blue chip prospect. Think they could use a guard, but um, Giants offensive line hasn't been bad this year, but I do think they could use help at right tackle as well as on the interior. Um, just protect Jackson Dart. You can never do that enough with a young quarterback. You could go Jordan Tyson here. You could have moved down with the Browns, who also need a quarterback. Um, but yeah, I think I just talked myself into it. Actually, I'm going to go with probably the most dynamic receiver in this draft class in Jordan Tyson. Malik Neighbors obviously tore his ACL. Don't know when he'll be back for next year. But other than that, you have Londio Robinson, you have Darius Slayton, who's getting older. So Maybe you want another guy that can be a very, very good wide receiver in New York alongside Malik Neighbors, and I think Jordan Tyson is that. How much are they going to value his injury history and have him potentially fall down the board? We don't know. In this case, I do have him going in the top five, and I think Jordan Tyson is a excellent player. Here at number five now for the Browns, I think this is pretty self-explanatory. I think far and away the QB3 in this class is Ty Simpson. Um, Wish he had more natural arm talent. I think everyone says that with Ty Simpson. Very accurate with the ball, but has had accuracy concerns in the last couple of weeks. But it wasn't bad against Auburn. Very, very good under pressure in that game. Weirdly, he was better under pressure throwing the ball and being more accurate rather than when he just had a clean pocket. But um, yeah, Ty Simpson, really good quarterback. Just wish he had a little bit more tools. I don't think he has the highest ceiling of a quarterback in this class. I think that is Dante Moore, but very, very good quarterback nonetheless. Very, very good at clutch situations. Placing balls where he needs to be. Made every throw on the field this year. So yeah, Ty Simpson does go top five. He goes to Cleveland, who don't build on Shador. In this case, they end up taking a quarterback. Not that much pressure to, move on from Shador. He is a fifth round pick at the end of the day. So didn't invest much. They end up investing in Ty Simpson to be their guy. Here at number six with the Commanders, do you want to go Ruben Bain? Do you want to improve that pass rush? Been excellent this year. Started off the year very well, then hasn't really been great down the stretch. You can see that in the grades here. Um, but I do think he's the best edge rusher in this class. You could have Kendrick Falk up there or David Bailey, but David Bailey, I'd like to see a little more prowess other than just being a sole pass rusher. I think Ruben Bain is someone that can do that all game for you, and we know how bad the Commanders need youth on that edge with Von Miller there. So they end up going Ruben Bain here at number six to fulfill their need at the edge position. Here at number seven, the Titans could use an offensive lineman here. Do you want to reach on a Maui Noah? Do you want to go with a guard in Ione or Pregnon? Two guys that I really like. But um, here at number seven with the Titans, how much do you value safety? Because they do desperately need a safety. Caleb Downs is by far, in a way, one of the most uh, talented prospects in this class. But how much is he going to be a box safety in the NFL? Probably a lot. Just very instinctive, kind of like I don't want to say a Brian Branch really, but I think someone that is going to roll down in the box a lot. Titans could use that though, and I do think due to the talent, Caleb Downs is going to be valued very highly. But how high is high in the NFL with a safety? We don't know. Um, and for that reason, I'm going to go Jermon McCoy. I think I just talked myself into that pick there. Jermon McCoy, very, very good, just hasn't played this year. But you see that 2024 tape, and we're thinking, how high could this guy go? How good is he? Could he go top five? In this case, he goes number seven, my cornerback one in this class by far. I like Mansour Delane. I just think he gets burnt too much. But been very, very good this year for LSU, don't get me wrong. Definitely played himself into, you know, the first round. But Jermon McCoy, far and away, my number one quarterback in this class. So he goes here to the Titans at number seven. Here at number eight, what do the Cardinals need? They need linebacker. They need offensive line. Two pair on the outside at right tackle. Obviously, your left tackle set with Paris Johnson. Do you think Maluino can play tackle? I think you could try it out, and then if he can't, you move him to guard, and I think you get a very good guard. So that's what I'm going to do here for the Cardinals. I think they go Francis Maluino here at number eight. Um, Someone that's going to play right tackle for you. I think you pull the Will Campbell experiment. You play him at tackle if he's not able to play tackle because he profiles more as a guard in the league. Then you move him over to guard, but until then, you just play him at tackle until he is not successful. And I think that does screw up the Rams a little bit because I do think they could use a right tackle as well. Do you want to go back? Do you want to use Spencer Fano? Um, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back to back tackles here. I think Spencer Fano is someone that was a lot better last year than this year. Definitely want him to show more in this year, but season's basically over. Definitely gonna have to rewatch the tape to see if I was just being a little harsh on him or not. But um, yeah, I think definitely tackle two in this class. I don't think Caden Proctor's played himself into that top tackle um, as of yet, but Spencer Fauna, very good player. Um, and I have him going here at 9 to the Rams. Here at number 10 with the Bengals. Desperately need edge. I think Trey Hendrickson does go in free agency, but I don't think Kendrick Falk is really their type of edge. Actually, maybe he is. You know, they went Shamar Stewart. I think Kendrick Falk is very similar to Shamar Stewart in the fact that they're athletic freaks with very good frames. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go Kendrick Falk. I was gonna go David Bailey, but ultimately I think Kendrick Falk is the better prospect here. Just need to see him get to the quarterback more, but we know that the Bengals don't, really care about that for a D lineman because they went with Shamar Stewart, who I think could be very good in the NFL, and I think Falk will be very good in the NFL as well. But in college, it's just funny that they have a trend of drafting guys that don't get to the quarterback, and Kendrick Falk follows that. So, following the Bengals tradition, going with an edge that doesn't get to the quarterback as much as a first round edge should, but definitely has the potential to in the NFL. Here at number 11 with the Minnesota Vikings. I was going to have Jermon McCoy go here, but switch that up just a little bit. They need safety. Caleb Downs is there, but again, Caleb Downs might play more box safety in the NFL rather than true safety. So you could see them go with a Halsey in the rounds afterward, um, or Tinneman from Oregon. But here at 11, I'm actually going to go corner here, and I'm going Mansour Delane, who um, yeah, I think a really, really good player. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought before that, but very good player. Here at number 11 does go to the Vikings. Your only concern with Mansour Delane is getting burnt by burners down the field. If you want to talk about guys that can burn here in this draft, you have Nick Harbor, who can burn pretty much anyone that he wants, um, or Zachariah Branch. Two very good burners. Zachariah Branch more that shifty guy though. Um, but yeah, Mansour Delane, very, very good player. Um, you want to watch the game against South Carolina, um, as well as the game against Texas A&M. I believe it was Casey Conception, guy that can fly, had him on strings that game. So you want to see the negatives in Mansour Lane, then go watch the A&M game. But other than that, he's been very good this year, and I think someone that can um, play himself into the top, or well, play himself potentially into the top 10 this time. He goes 11, could also fall somewhere in the teens. Here at number 12 with the Dolphins, though, um, I really like Makai Lemon here or Carnell Tate. Carnell Tate could have gone up there with the Giants if you really wanted him to. Could have gone with the Cardinals as well, but I think Carnell Tate is probably my wide receiver 2 in this class. Might end up being wide receiver 1 in case of teams valuing Jordan Tyson's injury history too much. But yeah, Carnell Tate, just a really, really good wide receiver. Been very good this year. Probably his best year in terms of production, but um, he reminds me a lot of Emeka Ibuka, to be honest. Just very, very good, very, very well-rounded receiver who can run any route on the route tree, as well as has very secure hands. We know how good the Ohio State wide receiver core is with him and Jeremiah Smith, and I think he is one of the bigger parts in that. When Jeremiah Smith is quiet, we know Carnell Tate is always going to step up. And in this case, he goes number 12 to the Dolphins, who I think could use a wide receiver because we don't know if Tyreek Hill's ever going to play another snap in the NFL. Um, Here at number 13 with the Chiefs, you could really use an offensive lineman here, but I think you also just want to get George Karlaftis off the field. Don't know how much, the Chiefs would be willing to do that with the amount they paid him, but I'm going David Bailey here, someone that can get to the quarterback with ease. Just, you'd like to see more on other aspects of his game, but been very good this year for Texas Tech in getting to the quarterback. You can see 13 sacks here. Um, you know, like to see more Ben, but a very, very good edge rusher David Bailey is, and I think the Chiefs could use massive help on that front because they have not been getting to the quarterback this year. Um, Moving on though to the Steelers at number 14, I think ideally in a perfect world you have Ty Simpson fall here, because I do think Aaron Rodgers may retire at the end of this year. And we also don't know if he'll stay because he has been a journeyman at the tail end of his career. Um, but here at 14, I think you could use wide receiver help on the inside with that slot. Roman Wilson's kind of stepped in there at times, but I think you need a true slot receiver that can, you know, play alongside DK Metcalf and allow him to stretch the field and then have the secure hands and run every route on the route tree. Um, and that is going to be my Makai Lemon for me. Plays a lot bigger than what he is, 5'11", but you'd think he's 6'2", kind of a Carnell Tate type of guy when he does play. Game against Michigan, if you want to watch him at his best, I think that was probably one of his best performances. The season was excellent in that game. Just a very gritty performance there, and he's been a very gritty performer all year. Kyle Lemon has been definitely played himself into this first round, and I think he goes top 15 here. To the Steelers, who desperately need a slot receiver, and I think he's perfect for that. Here with the Panthers at number 15, I truly love this pick, and that is going to be Sonny Styles. Um, Desperately need help at linebacker. Cowboys do too. Um, but Panthers just one pick ahead of them, um, and they end up taking Sonny Styles to fill in at linebacker, which they desperately need help with. Sonny Styles around like 6'5", yeah, 6'5", 240, and plays 240. Very very confident in his own game. You can tell that with the way he hits, the way he flows downfield. Very very good linebacker. Sonny Styles is. He heads over to Carolina. Now moving on to the Cowboys at 16. Um, do you want to go edge rusher? Do you want to go Cassius Howell? Someone that has been very, very good for Texas A&M. 12 sacks leading the SEC. Little bit of a drop off at the tail end of the season. Very hot to start, but someone that's very, very good. I think one of my favorite tapes to watch. Just again, only going to be a pass rusher for you, but can you afford that with the amount of interior help you have? I think you can. Um, so for that reason, I'm going to go Cassius Howell because I do think they need pass rushers on that edge. Ezra Rocky's been good for them, don't get me wrong, but they need another one on the edge. Sam Williams hasn't been bad either, but like a guy that could, really, really get to the quarterback with, ease, and I think Cassius Howell has done that in the SEC this season for Texas A&M. So Cowboys do end up going with him here. At number 17 with the Lions, you could really go anywhere here. Um, Wherever you want, I think would be, suffice. Um, and for me, I'm gonna go D line for them. Um, Missing DJ Reader a lot. I feel like the Lions are. And for me, I like Caleb Banks more than Peter Woods. I think just you watch the 2024 tape, it impressed me a lot. Peter Woods did too, though. Fair enough. Really, really good in his freshman year as well. True Junior was very good as a true freshman, very good as a true sophomore as well. But um, yeah, it just hasn't been that great this year. Caleb Banks has been injured, but I think has impressed me more last year than Peter Woods did last year. So for that, um, Caleb Banks goes to the Lions. Here, number 18 with the Texans. Do you want to go Ione or Pregnon, or do you want to go Caden Proctor? I'm gonna make a case here. Um, Texans' offensive line hasn't been bad as the media has given them credit for. Um, I think putting Titus Howard at left guard has really helped them. Jake Andrews hasn't been bad at all. Ed Ingram's been very good in the run game. And then Trent Brown has been very good stepping in at that right tackle position. Ursery has been a steal in the second round for them as well. So, the Texans aren't that poorly suited on the offensive line. Definitely want to improve it in this draft, but you can see here the Texans have, basically 5 top 100 picks. So, do you want to go with an explosive playmaker? Because you can, and Jeremiah Lovett is still on the board for you here. So, I'm going to do that. Definitely running back one in this class by a landslide. Think it definitely falls off after that. Jonah Coleman, um, Katron Allen potentially being RB2 or Nicholas Singleton. Um, but yeah, Jeremiah Love is far and away the running back one in this class. Um, Moving on though to the Ravens here at number 19. And you don't know how much Matabiki is ever going to play football again, so Peter Woods I think is the perfect replacement for him at number 19. I think it's pretty straightforward to be honest. I think if Peter Woods is there for the Ravens, they're going to take him no matter what. Unless you do want help at guard, which moving on to pick 20, I think the Buccaneers could use help with. I think a lot of pressure comes from the interior. You watch that game, I believe it was against the Eagles that they had. That Baker was just under pressure a lot from the interior. And I'm going to do that with not offensive tackle. I'm going to do that with Pregnon. I like him more than Ione. I think they're definitely 1A, 1B in terms of guards, but I think Pregnon has been great this year. But yeah, Ione has been consistent for a longer period of time. He was very good last year for Penn State in their run. in the playoffs, and carry that over to this year. Maybe guard one in this class, but I do like Pregnon's year. This year been very, very good for Oregon. Um, and then 21 for the Bills. You could go a lot of different places, but I think if you see Caleb Downs here at 21, you just take him. I didn't expect him to fall this far. It's just haven't really seen a team that desperately needs secondary help like the Bills have. They just need help across that entire defense. I think you could have gone with Peter Woods if he was there. Obviously, there's been an injury to Ed Oliver this year that has really set them back, but the Bills' defense just hasn't been great this year. Um, but you use the Caleb Downs as the DB linebacker card, the player that's versatile, can play anywhere you want him to. And I think if he falls to you at 21, you probably get the steal of the draft there. Or Jeremiah Love at 18 to the Texans is a pretty big steal. Peter Woods as well could be a very big steal um, if he plays to the potential that he had and showed in his sophomore year. Moving on to number 22 to the Eagles. Um, yeah, you could go anywhere here. You could bolster that offensive line who has been very poor in the run game. You could get a corner here if you want to, because we know they desperately need a guy other than Quinyon Mitchell. Sorry, I was blanking there. And Avion Terrell's a great corner, and I think Brandon Cisse a lot of people will like the more that they watch. Decent size for a corner. Avion Terrell's a little bit shorter, but I think they could definitely use someone in that slot position. The Eagles. Um, Opposite of Cooper DeJean, obviously. But I think Avion Terrell can play in the boundary as well. And maybe I talked myself into that. Maybe I didn't. We'll see what the edge rushers look like. I think Cassius Howell could go here. I think Romello Height could go here. If you want a guy that can just truly get to the quarterback, he definitely does that. You can see 8 sacks this year. Texas Tech has been great at getting to the quarterback. TJ Parker hasn't been bad this year. I just don't know if he'll go in the first round. And for that, I'm going to go Romello Height to the Eagles because I do think they could use help on the edge. Um, so yeah, Romello Height does go to the Eagles at 22. Here at 23, I think the Titans could use offensive line, and I think it's perfect that Caden Proctor is still here for them, or they could use help on the interior, and I think I'm gonna go with. I like Ione, but I do think Caden Proctor does have a higher ceiling, and I think you do have a couple years to work with. You have J.C. Latham on one side at tackle. I think Caden Proctor could play God for you. So I am going to go Caden Proctor due to his versatility because you try him out at left tackle. If it doesn't work, you move him onto the interior, and I think he can be very good there as well. So Caden Proctor goes here 23 to uh, the Titans with the Colts pick, but ultimately traded to the Jets. Um, excuse me. Here at 24 with the San Francisco 49ers, I think you desperately need help on the edge. With the injury to Nick Bosa, um, as well as just the edge play not being that great this year, I think you need someone on that edge that can really help you out. And I think TJ Parker could do that. I just talked about it earlier. I don't know if he will go in the first round, but I think he's someone that, showed really, really good promise. The years leading up to this year, Clemson's just been a bit of a mess, and this year he hasn't been too bad. But definitely had poor performances in games. He just really showed out, and but yeah, I think he could be a good fit there in San Francisco, be utilized in a proper manner there, because we know Kyle Shanahan does know how to use edge rushers pretty well, with how well Nick Bosa has performed. But moving on to the southern side of California, we have the Chargers here at 25. And I think someone that could use, or a team that could use offensive line help, excuse me. Um, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to go Ione. I think they could use help on the interior at guard, at center. Um, Joe Alt's been hurt. Slater got hurt. So, um, once those guys get back, I think the Chargers will be a lot better on the offensive line, but I do think he could use help on the interior, and I think Iona does that for you. So he's my pick here at 25 for the Chargers, so that could definitely be guard one in this class. But I prefer Pregnon to be honest, but other people will say different. Here at 26 with the Browns, and here you had Ty Simpson at 5. What do you want? Do you want someone that can get him the ball? Do you want to protect him? Could Dunker go here? Someone that could play guard in the NFL as well. Do you want Connor Lew to go here? Someone that could hop up boards a little bit, I think. But it's a pretty deep tackle class. I like guys like Trey Zune down the board. Um, Pretty much the entire A&M offensive line I do pretty much like. I like Coogan down the board as well. Chaplin, I think someone that could have played himself earlier into the draft just because of his frame. Had a decent 2024, just not that great of a year. I like Charles Jagusah, just a very big guard. I think he's around 6'2", no, not 6'2", sorry, 6'7", 330. Yeah, 6'7", 333. You could go Jennings Dunker here if you want, but I'm gonna go playmaker here. And I think one of the best playmakers in this draft is Casey Conception. Um, so yeah, I think it's a good pick here for the Browns to open up that offense. Um, just an explosive guy. You can watch that tape at Texas A&M. He's been great this year. I think that transfer from, I believe NC State has really helped him out. But back to the Cowboys here at 27. And I'm gonna go linebacker here for them. I'm gonna go C.J. Allen, someone that could go in the first round. Could potentially have drafted him at 16, but here at 27, C.J. Allen's still on the board. And they desperately need help at linebacker, so I think that really helps them out. At 27, just someone that can fly to the ball, very, very good athlete. Um, so yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory there. But moving on to the Seahawks at pick 28, someone that could use corner, um, someone that could replace Tariq Woolen, who's been all right this year, not great. Um, do you want tight end? AJ Barner is there. Um, who's our other tight end? I'm completely blanking right now. I don't know, but um, yeah, you could go a multitude of different areas, but I'm gonna go Jennings Dunker here. I think they could improve opposite of Zabel. I think they could use a center as well if you want to go Lou here at pick 28, but I don't think a center will go that high. I think Jennings Dunker is someone that can play anywhere on the offensive line. You could probably try him out at center, to be honest, but 6'5", 315, definitely going to be a guard in the league. Other guys that could be a guard in the league are Caden Green. Been very good this year, and I think someone that could play or fly up boards. I think Chaplin, I talked about him earlier, could fly up boards just because of his frame. Um, Pro- Prongos as well. Sorry, excuse me. I think Caleb Tiernan might be a guard in the NFL. Very good, but or very good frame, excuse me. But I don't think he has the longest arms, so maybe we see Tiernan on the interior offensive line. Back at the Rams at pick 29, went with Spencer Fano earlier to improve their offensive line. And Emmanuel not Emmanuel Favre, not anywhere near that. Emmanuel Forbes was exposed a little bit in the last week, and I do think he could use help at corner. Is that an immediate reaction? Maybe. Do you want to, draft a quarterback that has, a project ahead of him in Lenore Sellers? You could. I do think he ends up going back to college ultimately, but, very, very good quarterback at that. Lenore Sellers is. Nussmeier has a lot of decent traits for an NFL quarterback. Just needs to improve on his decision making. Sorsby could play himself, or not play himself, but tape himself into the first round. I thought looked very good this year for Cincinnati. A lot of Cade Klubnik hype headed into this year, just never really accumulated anything. Senior, don't know if he'll be a grad transfer or Drew Aller. Big injury, but also just wasn't that great this year for Penn State. At 29 though, I'm gonna go a little bit of a shock. I'm gonna go Kenyon Sadiq. Definitely someone that could have gone as high as maybe 18 to the Texans or um, 12 to the Dolphins if you really wanted to. If Darren Waller's not going to be there next year, don't really know what the situation is there with him. But Kenyon Sadiq is a very, very dynamic playmaker for Oregon. A lot better than a 72 grade, in my opinion. You can see 490 yards, 8 touchdowns, but a very explosive player at the tight end position. My favorite tight end prospect since Brock Bowers. If you did watch my Texans mock draft, then I think I said that there. And I do think I had the Texans go Kenyon Sadiq in the first round, actually. Um, but yeah, very, very good tight end. I think you could upgrade on Tyler Higbee there. So that's why I went Kenyon Sadiq. I think the Broncos would be seething with that because I think they could also use a Kenyon Sadiq for their own situation. Um, but at the same time, I'm gonna go Avion Terrell for them. I know most people may not agree with that pick, but I don't think Riley Moss has been that great of a corner. I think teams are just picking on him and picking on him. Um, so I think you could really, just ease that pressure on him by drafting a corner. You could go Brandon Cisse, who I like. Definitely someone that looks more of a boundary corner than Avion Terrell is, but I think Avion Terrell could play boundary corner in the league despite his height. Think he definitely plays um, a lot bigger than his height. But moving on to the Bears at pick 31. Don't really know what to do here. They say running back is a need, but it really isn't. You could go Caden McDonald, who I think has been a beneficiary of a very good defensive line there uh, at Ohio State, but I mean, been a very good player for them this year. Could go LT Overton, who has a very decent frame for an edge rusher there. Um, been getting a lot of turnovers there in Chicago, but I do think you could use help on this defensive front because I do think they need to stop the run better. And I think someone that's decent at doing that is Kristen Miller for Georgia. You can see his run grade there. Been very, very consistent this year. Been very good at stopping the run. Just very good at those stunts in the A and B gap. So, for that, I'm going to have him go in the first round. A lot of people have him around this area, may have him sneak into the first round, may have him early second round. For me, I think the Bears need to stop the run desperately. You could go Caden McDonald, who is also very good at stopping the run, but I do think Christian Miller's a better overall defensive lineman or D tackle if you want to put it at that. So I have him here at 31 to the Bears, and then at pick 32 to the Patriots. Excuse me, sorry. You could go Lomu here, who was very good last year. Just hasn't had that great of a year this year, but someone that could play tackle. If you do want help on that right tackle spot, um, do you need another playmaker? Do you want to go Denzel Boston, who's been very good for Washington this year? Um, some poor performances in there. I don't think he was as bad as the grade says against Michigan. Um, need to watch that UCLA game, but just very good season overall for him. I think found the end zone a lot. And do you want to give Drake May another playmaker? You definitely could. But I do think you could use help at corner. I do think you could get another guy that could rush the passer. Our Mason Thomas could definitely do that. I think one of the best pass rushers in this draft class. Just definitely needs improvement against the run. Quincy Rhodes definitely a guy with the frame to hop into the first round. And I think I just talked myself into it. Quincy Rhodes is going to be my last pick in this first round. Um, a guy with a good frame. Someone that could potentially be a three down lineman or three down edge for the um, Patriots. And I think they could get to the quarterback a little bit better. They haven't been bad at all. Don't get me wrong; they're 11-2 winning ball games, but definitely could use help on the edge. And I think Quincy Rhodes definitely does do that. So if we zoom out a little bit, here is my first round mock draft. If you have any critiques, let me know down in the comment section. I like the way it came out. Maybe you'd like a Sadiq to go a little bit higher, Cassius Howell maybe to go a little bit further down the board, Jeremiah Love to potentially go a little bit higher. Um, Caleb Downs go higher. Obviously, you could have swapped Jermon McCoy and Caleb Downs if you wanted to, or moved McCoy to Delane spot, Delane to Downs' spot, and then Downs to McCoy's spot. But that's the way to cookie crumbled in this draft. Maybe Jordan Tyson doesn't even go this high at all. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like, subscribe. Thank you all for watching. As always, it's repost in about. Thanks again. Peace.